Title: Cheating Wife Got Pregnant After Secret Meetups with 4 Men, Then Tried to Claim I Was the Father. The day my world fell apart didn't start with a fight. It started with the sound of my wife humming in the kitchen. Emily had been strangely cheerful that morning, almost glowing. At first, I thought maybe she'd just gotten good news from work. I smiled as I poured my coffee, but the moment I picked up her phone from the counter to check the time, everything changed. There were messages on the screen. Group chats. 4 different men. Each thread full of flirty jokes, private meetup arrangements, and things I wish I could unsee. My hands went cold. When I confronted her, Emily didn't even try to deny it. They were just casual meetups, she said flatly, like she was talking about going out for coffee with friends. You were too busy with work, and I needed attention. It didn't mean anything. I stood there in shock. 4 men, Emily? And you're telling me it didn't mean anything? She looked annoyed, not guilty. Why are you making it a big deal? I'm happy with you, but I had needs. You don't get to judge me for that. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a mistake. This was a choice she made, again and again. Weeks passed. I couldn't even look at her the same way, but she acted like nothing had happened, until one evening, she sat me down at the dinner table, looking strangely serious. I'm pregnant, she said softly. I just stared at her. My stomach twisted. It's yours, she added quickly. Of course it's yours. But something about the way she said it, too quick, too defensive, made my chest tighten. Are you sure? I asked. Her eyes flickered just for a second, and that was all I needed to know. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying every word, every look, every late-night excuse she'd given me over the past few months. By morning, my mind was set. I needed answers, not guesses. I booked a paternity test appointment without telling her. For a week, I kept my distance, barely talking except when necessary. Emily noticed. You've been cold to me ever since I told you, she said one evening. I just need space, I replied. But inside, I was burning. When the results came back, I opened the email alone in my office. My heart hammered as I read the words. Probability of paternity, 0%. My hands shook. The anger I had been holding back for weeks finally broke free. I drove home, every mile feeling heavier than the last. Emily was in the living room, watching TV like nothing was wrong. Turn it off, I said. My voice was calm, but it wasn't mine. It was too quiet, too controlled. She turned, confused. What's wrong? You lied to me. I tossed the printed results on the coffee table. Her face went pale. You did a test? Yes, I said. Because I couldn't take your word for it. And now I know the truth. This baby isn't mine. She swallowed hard. Okay, I made a mistake. Mistake. I cut her off. Emily, you didn't trip and fall into 4 different beds. You made choices. Over and over again. And now you expect me to raise someone else's child. Tears welled up in her eyes, but I wasn't moved. I didn't want to lose you, she whispered. I thought if I said it was yours, we could move past everything. That wasn't a solution, I said, my voice shaking. That was another lie. You didn't just cheat. You tried to trap me with a life that wasn't mine. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. She just sat there, silent, as I grabbed a bag and started packing. I didn't pack everything, just enough to get through the next few days. My hands were steady now, as if the storm inside me had finally passed. Emily followed me to the doorway, crying, but I didn't turn around. So that's it, she asked through tears. You're just going to leave? I stopped, my back still to her. No, Emily, I said quietly. You already left, you just didn't bother walking out the door. Her sobs echoed through the house as I stepped outside and shut the door behind me. For the first time in weeks, I felt air fill my lungs without pressure. Over the next few days, I met with a lawyer and started the paperwork. There was no yelling, no begging on her end, just a resigned silence. Maybe she finally understood that I wasn't coming back. A week later, she sent me a long message. She said she'd tell the other men the truth, that she'd raise the child alone if she had to. She said she hoped one day I'd forgive her. I didn't reply. Forgiveness might come someday, but trust? Trust was gone forever. Months passed, and the divorce went through. Friends kept asking me if I was okay, if I missed her. The truth was, I missed who I thought she was, the woman I believed I'd married. But I didn't miss the constant suspicion, the lies, or the weight of wondering whose life I was actually living. One night, sitting in my quiet apartment, I realized I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. No secrets buzzing in the background, no fake smiles across the dinner table. Just silence, and my own future stretching out in front of me. Emily's choices had burned our marriage to the ground. But from the ashes, I had something she couldn't take from me: my freedom, my self-respect. And for the first time in a long time, I was ready to start over.